Hi, Diamond Girls. It's me, Adrienne Everheart, your feminine energy dating and relationship coach. Today, I'm going to talk about how to stay in your feminine energy, especially if you work from home. I get a lot of requests from working women, entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, women that are now working at home, and you're working with your husband at home, your kids, the UPS guy, the postman's ringing the bell, your house needs cleaning. All of these things are going on while you're having your career, you're trying to get work done, and you want to feel feminine at home. Now, as a feminine energy coach for women, I do specialize in how to not just balance your own masculine and feminine energy, because for me, it's not so much about balance as it is about harmony and finding what works for you, what works in your household, what feels good and right for you really might be very different for someone else. So this work is really about feminine energy and finding what you feel. And here's the thing, powerful dynamite women so often cannot find what they're feeling in their body. We have a really difficult time registering and understanding like what feels good, what doesn't feel good. We just know how to like fix something, how to solve something, how to make something work. So for those of you joining my channel for the first time, please take a moment to subscribe to me if you want to learn more feminine energy tips. I have a best-selling ebook out there called 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. It is full of scripts and advice and all the things that you were not taught growing up about how to communicate to a man from a place of your authentic feminine energy. This is not about pretending that you're someone else and about putting on some sort of mask or airs to make your relationship work. It is actually about finding this more authentic, grounded version of yourself that we're otherwise not really taught or brought up to nurture. And I'll go a little bit more into that as I share these tips with you, but please do. I really appreciate you taking a moment to subscribe or follow me. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. So let's get started. Now, I do have chat open. I hope that everyone can see and chat and be able to talk to me. We can have some questions at the end of the class. I'm going to open this up. Hopefully I'm muted. Great. So I've got chat open. If anyone has any questions, feel free to pop it in as we discuss, but I'm going to keep moving along and share these tips with you. This is a live stream. I love doing my live streams, but sometimes they can get a little complicated technology-wise. Okay. So let's get started. There's a couple of things that I want you to first think about when you're working at home. And that's where you're having this source of pain or where you're feeling a disconnect. And try to first identify, where is it in my house? Where is it in my job or my routine? Where is it during the day where my mood really takes a dive and I begin to feel disconnected from my authentic self? It might happen on the way to your office if you're driving into work. It might happen the moment you step out of bed. But I want you to be able to find, like, what is the thought I'm thinking? Where does my body start to really tighten up and feel like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be a problem today, or I can't face another day like this, or oh, I have a to-do list that's so long. I want you to begin to notice where you first start to feel this in your body, because this is the biggest part of feminine energy, which is recognizing where you're having that experience and that feeling. Like, where is it taking space in your body and in your emotions? So again, powerful dynamite women don't always can articulate and know even what we're feeling in our bodies. I will tell you, I was so heavily in my masculine energy that a lot of times I didn't even know if it was cold or hot or what the temperature was like outside. I had a really difficult time, and I had a even more difficult time saying, oh, can we make the temperature cooler or warmer? Or I don't want to eat this food, or this outfit feels uncomfortable. I was really out of touch with my physical body. So the next thing I want you to then focus on is that now you're having some awareness into, how am I feeling in my body? Where am I feeling dread? Where am I feeling this feeling of recoiling and being uncomfortable? I now want you to then go one step further and say, okay, where do I feel good? Where do I feel peace? Where do I relax? So, a good way that I did this is I broke it into 3 segments. The first segment is, where do I feel totally relaxed, totally at peace? Where in life, where in nature, where on this planet do I feel this way? And what does it feel like in my body? So, a good example for this is the beach, how I feel at the beach, at the seaside. For you, it might be like how I feel in the mountains, or how I am when I visit my grandmother, or how it is when I go to the bookstore. So, I want you to be able to find that happy place for yourself where you feel peace, content, calm, and you are in no sort of anxious, reactive state at all. So for me, it's the beach. And when I'm at the beach, what do I feel in my body? I really feel like my body is almost like a little rag doll where my all the muscles and my bones can just totally relax in my body. And it just feels like everything kind of spreads out and evens out. Like if I was like a little beanie baby, I could just like expand and just exist and almost like I'm floating. So start to identify with, where do I feel peace? Like find that location wherever it's at. Now I want you to go to the next step, which is, where do you start to feel a little stressed? Is it when a certain person comes around you? Is it when you open up your email inbox? What event in life can you begin to identify that begins to rev up your stress a little bit and puts you into a little bit of a fight or flight? You feel like you need to defend yourself in some way. So for me, when I start to feel that way is when there's like just a little hint of conflict, like with my husband. So if I'm working at home and my husband comes to me and I'm deep in work, I'm, got my mind on something and he says, "Hey, can I bother you for just one quick second?" And I'm like, "No, like I'm in this." And I have my do not disturb light on. I have a way to communicate with him, but he wants to communicate with me regardless. I get that feeling of like, oh, I just hurt his feelings. He's going to be upset with me. Or I just push down what I'm experiencing right now and I go ahead and answer him. And so I begin to feel this conflict in my body. Now, where do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it like in your fingertips? Do you feel like your chest tighten? Do you feel your heart kind of speed up? Does your mouth get dry? I start to notice kind of like a muscle ache at that point. Like sometimes I'd notice when my husband would come and ask me a question, I would start rolling my shoulders and releasing some tension. I would start to feel it in my body. Now, the next part I want you to go into is, where am I like, I need to run out of the house? I need to get away, or I'm in complete shutdown. And where is that location at in your body? And where can you kind of imagine it out in this world? So let's just do a real quick recap. The first place is, I'm totally relaxed. I'm calm. I'm at the beach. All the muscles, everything's relaxing. Part 2 is, I start to feel tensed up. It feels like I'm trapped a little bit in a tiny closet with my husband. So I'm at home, we're in this tiny closet and he's asking me questions and I've got all this work stuff on my mind and I can't give him the attention and time that he needs in that moment. And I feel the tension in my muscles and my shoulders. So the third place is like, I got to run away. I got to get away. I got to escape. It's total shutdown. And there were a couple of times when I was a kid where I would practice doing kind of risky things, as a lot of kids did, jumping out of a swing, jumping off your bike while your bike is going fast. You just try these things sometimes, depending on how much boy energy you had as a kid. Or, trying to do a flip in the pool or something like that. And then when it wouldn't work, and there's that moment when you're about to hurt yourself or fall, where you just feel like the world suddenly moves in on you at a very rapid pace. Okay, so you can see how I can really identify with what that feels like. And it's almost like I'm numb and I'm bracing for that pain. So once you can identify what really feeling good and relaxed feels like, what feeling tense and I'm definitely activated, going into some sort of fight or flight, versus like I am in total despair here and I'm preparing for impact. Now you can begin to identify these feeling places you have in your body, you see. So this is the beauty of feminine energy, is that we're not intellectualizing the problem or the discomfort that's before us while we're trying to work at home, have our careers, answer the door, help the children, whatever it may be. You're now able to just slow down and identify what's going on in your body. So this is one of the biggest keys to feminine energy, is recognizing and naming what you're feeling at any given time. So let's start off by looking at your routine. You may have a work at home routine, or you may not. You might just like for it to be really organic. But look at what that routine is. Observe what that routine is. Even if it's a lack of routine, that's still a routine. I like to get up in the morning and I like to organically know when I'm going to eat, when I'm hungry, organically know what I want to work on that day, or do I need something more structured? So when you can have even some sort of a routine where you can depend on yourself and you can depend on your environment, what energy state do you think you're going to be in? Are you going to be in this calm, safe, connected energy state? Or are you going to be feeling like you're about to hit impact on the ground? So that's where you want to look at your routine and go, what would really make me feel safe? What would make me feel connected in my life? These are the feelings we're going for. We're wanting to keep you in this safe, connected place. So if this is resonating for any of you, please do give this video a thumbs up, make a comment in the comment section, and share with me where you feel you're safest, where you feel grounded, safe, and secure, and how you can begin to notice other places in life where you're feeling that way. I used to go to the grocery store and get the biggest panic attack when I was about to go into the grocery store. I'd get hit with the lights and the doors and the music and everything. And it would just give me this big overload. And now I go to the grocery store and it's super fun. I get to organically sometimes grocery shop and find what I want to cook, and just kind of feel my way through. So you can sometimes even change what used to feel good to you. I used to really love New York City. You take me to New York City now, I can't wait to get out of the place. I want to go see the show and get out. So you might change and things might be different, but begin to notice those. So this also goes for your workspace, which is the next tip. When you have a designated workspace, and I have 3 of them, sometimes 4 of them, this is a workspace. When I look at it, I'm in this energy state of calm and relaxed and feeling good. If I end up having a lot of papers on my desk and things are piled up and my laundry is on one part of my desk or whatever, I begin to tense up and feel that tension in my body. So when you have a workspace that's free of distractions, that's quiet, it's what you need to keep your energy in a good place. You see where I'm going with this. So if you want to be feminine and feminine energy at home, it is going to be that awareness of what feels good to you and what does not. So let's move on to some other important tips, which really give a lot of women anxiety, things like time management and delegating. And how do I want to spend my time? How do I want to best use my time? This is one that I really struggle with because I am very much someone who can do it all. I can wear a lot of hats. But what ends up happening is that my self-care goes down the tubes and I end up getting into this activated place and feeling on the edge of my seat and feeling uncomfortable and feeling unhappy. And when I'm in that place, if I do have some sort of interaction with my husband or a colleague or whatever it may be, your children, whatever, you will react because you're in that activated place. And so the key to this is we want to have you in this very easy flowing beach, non-activated place, or the mountains, or wherever it may be for you. So when it comes to delegating, time management, and things like this, you must find foremost what feels good to you. Now, I recently read a book called 4,000 Weeks, A Mortal's Guide to Time Management. I really recommend you give it a little look over, because the author gets you to calculate how much life you have left in weeks. So you take your current age, and then let's say you live to be 85, and you find out how many weeks of life you have left. So if I live to be a certain age in my 80s, I have 1,500 or so weeks. That's 1,500 and some change weeks of my life I left to live. And that is if I live to be a certain age, if illness or an accident or anything else doesn't strike me down, because we never know. And this isn't to be like morose or down, but you have to decide how you want to spend your life, whether it's your job or your self-care or your routine or delegating. How do I want to spend my life? So for me, a big one is in delegating. I can do it all myself. That's my masculine energy. I can wear all these hats. I can get it all done, but I feel better. I have more of my life and what I want to do when I delegate. So you can begin to see how self-care really and getting that time management skill is really about how I want to spend these weeks of my life. Again, if this is resonating for you, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if this is reaching and touching your heart and helping you in a way. So part of understanding these energy states that we have and what feels good and aligning with our feminine energy is so much about recognizing where we are, recognizing what triggers us, because you can have all of these qualities laid out before you. Stay organized, time management, delegate, outsource, prioritize your self-care. They're all really wonderful words, aren't they? But they don't really mean anything if you can't get to them, if you can't even find a way to do it, or you're rushing out of the house to go get your nails done or whatever you may deem self-care, and you're all in a flutter, and you get to the nail salon and you have to have a glass of wine just to calm down or relax or whatever it may be. So this is not self-care. This is keeping you off the edge of a cliff. And feminine energy is about regulating that nervous system, which I know is a really hot word, but it's more than just spa days and doing nice things for yourself. It is a way to live your life every day energetically and finding that peace. So a big conflict a lot of you have, and this is my last tip I want to share, is about being around your husband or your kids, and they kind of intrude on your time, and you're trying to get things done, but then there they are. They're pulling at you, pulling at you, pulling at you. And so when you're feeling pulled at, which energy place are you in? If you're feeling pulled at, so nothing stresses me out more than if I open my inbox and I've got, more than 3 emails to respond to. I will feel very stressed out. So here's the thing about emails that I also learned from that book, which I've known a long time. The more emails you answer, the faster you answer these things, the more they come back. So you can begin to identify where is something taking up too much of my energy and my focus. Decide where you want to give something energy. So even with your children, it is much better to have an hour of eye contact with them and playing with them and interacting with them instead of also being on your phone interacting with them. One of the greatest time savers I have done to date is on Sundays, my phone is off. My phone is off. I don't talk to anyone. I don't communicate with anyone. My family knows if you need to get in touch with me, it'll have to either wait till Monday if it's an emergency, or they might reach my husband if he's got his phone on. How much time you're scrolling on social media? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to feel? These devices are taking up a huge chunk of your time. The same can be said for the amount of reading and resources that are out there, even this video. This is something you're learning from, but you have to be very selective about what I'm going to learn, how much I can even store and take in, and how does it make me feel? Because when my husband or my child or my family need me and I need and want them, I want to give them all of me. I don't want to give them fragments of me that I just have left over at the end of the day. All right. So I'm going to pause there and we're going to take a couple of questions. Feel free to ask me a question in chat. I'll take just a couple before we have to go. And a lot of you have been commenting about where you feel things in your body. And I've gotten, thank you, Eljaya. You said you've been following me for years. Thank you, Dread. I'm glad a lot of you are with me live. Make sure you subscribe and ring that little bell below, and then you'll always get my updates. All right. Lots of really great comments. If you can replay the chat when you watch this video, definitely want to read those. Okay. RA has asked a question. I'm going to pop it up here. She says, I have a question. I feel abandoned when the guy leaves after a date, especially if it's abrupt. I don't know how to deal with this. So of course you feel that feeling. If he's like, oh, gotta go, and it's suddenly very abrupt and the date doesn't feel like it's having a really natural ending, what I would call more of a soft feminine energy ending. So how would that date end and it feel really good to you? So there are some nights I've let everybody know my husband and I sleep in different bedrooms. I need my sleep. He snores and I'm a wiggler. I'm a kick and wiggle a lot before I go to bed. And we just each need our own sleep. So lovemaking and cuddling doesn't take place necessarily in the bed at night to go to bed. We just have separate locations for these things, which is usually a bed, but it doesn't, we don't sleep together. But at nighttime, when he says good night to me and I say good night to him, if it's like, honey, I'm just so tired, I got to go to bed, good night, I don't feel very good about that. But most nights my husband wants to come in and he wants to give me like back rubs and kiss and cuddle. We might watch something funny on television. We might make love. We might read. We might just visit with our animals one more time before bed. So we have that little routine that feels good. So how would the end of a date feel good for you? Would it be holding hands, looking at each other's eyes, sharing your gratitudes, sharing what you're thankful for, what you appreciated about the date? Like, how would it feel? And then see if you can't put that in your energy. And so if the guy says, oh, gotta go, gotta head out. Oh, I'd like a moment to just tell you that tonight felt really nice. I really enjoyed that appetizer you ordered for us. And I loved spending time with you and laughing and watching that movie, and talk about how you feel. And make sure behind that sharing, that authentic sharing, I'm not sharing in order for you to like me and to do the same and share back. I'm not sharing to get something back from you. I'm sharing just to be authentic. He may or may not decide to share back. And this is why we date someone. We date someone to find out like what type of person they really are and how they really treat us. That's why we date. Okay, let's take another one. Oh, I love this question. Do you have any feng shui advice for peaceful, productive work area? I actually do. I'm a big fan of energetic placement of things. In fact, if you have any of my courses, such as ABCs to Getting Back or New Man Manifesto, these are all part of my courses that I have They're self-study courses, and they come with something called a VIP library. And ladies, if you are single, you must get into my VIP library and find my document about how to invite a man into your home and your bed. I have shared tips. It's become something known as Love Corner, but I have shared so many tips in that document about how to actually call forth a man into existence based on how you have your bedroom set up. So go check that out. But peaceful and productive work area. So let's start off with what feels good. I love to look out a window and have something to look at. I'm at the beach right now, but I don't know if you've ever noticed that most sinks have a window above them, because while you're doing dishes, you look out, you're looking around. It feels good. People know this. So what are you looking at? What feels good? If you have a computer screen in front of you, do you need a window behind you? Do you need more light coming in? What feels good for you? When you get dressed for work in the morning, what clothes make you feel good? What shoes, what outfit, what top? Sometimes I've gotten some of my best work done in my pajamas because that so suits me and how I need to feel. Other times I've gotten dressed up for work and I've had a really productive day. So it can be really different. I am very organic in how I do these things, but see what feels good for you. Certain colors, minimal things. I like to have my paperweights around me because they're just so beautiful. And I can just take a moment and just go to that happy place inside that beautiful paperweight. So find what feels good and comfortable for you. Recently, I got one of those inflatable balls to sit on because I started getting hip strain from just sitting, back in my chair. So, it really might change and evolve, but it's a great question, Mercedes. Thank you for asking. With feng shui, you want to avoid edges, sharp edges, if you can, and have plants nearby. I am always surrounded by so many of my plants, and it helps to keep that energy flowing and feel good and positive. Here's an interesting question. Any advice for uninviting someone to my wedding in a feminine energy way? Ooh. So I will tell you, I am a believer that if you create a commitment, you stick to it because you'll learn from it. And I believe that if you try to avoid the thing, you make it bigger by avoiding it. So my advice would be invite them, because otherwise you're going to show up drunk at your wedding anyway, talking about how you uninvited them. Possibly. That's been known to happen. But if you invite them and you make it open and you're carrying the olive branch and you're the bigger person and you're carrying that with you, but there's something here you need to face and face it head on with no fear. No person, place, or thing has any power over you unless you give it to them. So this would be a good one to embrace. I love cuddling before bed. Thank you for mentioning that, Sunshine. That's wonderful. Okay, last question. This is a great one. Any tips for working with your husband? I know you don't recommend doing that, but for now, I do have a small business working from home with my husband. Yes. So I have said before that I think it's just bad news to work with your partner because you will inevitably have to be in your masculine energy. And depending on how secure your man is or isn't, and most men, in my opinion, are way more insecure than we give them credit for. And they'll power move on you. This is how masculine energy works. And they'll power move on you in a way that they would never do with their coworkers because you're their wife. And I just really think it can be damaging. It's just this, again, we're not looking for balance. We're looking for harmony. And in my opinion, it just does not work. So if you are going to be working with your husband, find what you are good at and do it. and don't force him or help him or encourage him to do anything he is not good at doing. Okay. So let's say you're good at doing a lot of things that make the company money. All right. So then it's a good idea to maybe separate the company, separate the finances into money I'm generating, money you're generating. And then you're not on him to, hey, why don't you do more of these things that I'm doing that are actually generating real income? So find what you're good at and do it, and find a way to separate it so that it's not all intermingled. And to me, I think that's just much better, because then he can come to you and go, yeah, I contacted all these people and I did all this thing. He did his stuff. And as much as you can, get him to delegate you and just say, hey, what do you think I should do? Or what do you think is the most important thing? Even if you just go, okay, and then go do whatever you want to go do. But it's important that it's tricky in that relationship. And then as soon as you are done working, do not talk about work. You are then in your feminine energy. You are then wife. All right. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here. For those of you that didn't get your question answered, feel free to post it in the comments section below. I'll try and get to it later. And also, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching with me or group coaching, I have my private group, I Heart Love Academy. I'll have the link to that below. I'm in there every month teaching classes. I have 5 other coaches with me. We answer your post. It is a great way to get additional support. And if you haven't already, check out my online courses. I have loads of testimonials, women who have gotten married, found and called forth their true partner, gotten their ex back, rebuilt their life, and created just a really harmonious existence with their masculine energy partner just from taking my online courses. So it's really phenomenal. Go check them out. I have all the links below. And thank you so much for being with me and these amazing questions you have all asked today. Be sure to like and share if this video has been helpful for you. And I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye-bye.